This is my local Japanese supermarket here in Kyoto. Gaze upon its shelves, ye mighty in despair. Aside from the fact that they're still into the Minions here, and yes, I bought the Minions bananas, so what? It's a very pleasant shopping experience. But it is expensive. Fruit especially, but also essentials and snacks. However, there is one product that stubbornly undercuts just about everything else in this Thunderdome. Let me put it into context. If you were unlucky enough to be born British, no doubt as punishment for crimes committed in a past life, such as killing a guide dog or being British, then you are no doubt familiar with the Freddo. Traditionally, the Freddo has been a cheap chocolate treat favoured by schoolchildren and adults who have the brains of schoolchildren. I myself have several at home in jars. Way back in 1994, you could snag a Freddo for just 10p, and by 2009 it had risen to 13p. But today in 2022, you're looking at roughly twice that amount. Even accounting for inflation, it just doesn't add up. I mean, take a look at this graph for goodness sake. Therefore, it's a snack that serves as every schoolchild's earliest benchmark for economic inflation. Every time I see one at the shops, my heart is filled with sorrow. If only the price had remained affordable for paupers. Enter Umaibo. It sounds like something you would find growing between your toes, or perhaps a forbidden martial art. The name literally means delicious stick, but I prefer to think of it as a yummy rod. It's a cylindrical puffed corn snack that comes in a range of flavours. Fermented beans, salad, octopus dumplings, chocolate, and so on. But recently, they were in the news for the unthinkable. The price is going to be raised from 10 yen, which is about 7p, to 12 yen, which is about 7p. Prior to this, the price had always been the same for 43 years. The moment I saw this news, I dropped everything and sprinted to the konbini to scoop up a batch of these little treasures before the crowds rushed in. Because there's no way in hell I'm paying an extra 2 yen for my yummy rods. And incredibly, there were still some left. After I'd locked and bolted the door behind me, assured that my prize was safe at last, I took a proper look at what I had purchased. Cheese, corn pottage, and mentai, or pickled fish eggs, which seems like a flavour a British person would have concocted. Now, if you've ever seen a picture of the Cornish delicacy stargazy pie, you'll know that British people hate themselves, the world, and everyone in it. Oh, and for those who don't know, Cornwall is an irradiated zone that dangles off the tip of England like toilet paper stuck to a shoe. So compared to that, all three of these flavours sound like a walk in the park, and perfect for the self-loathing among us. And if you're like me, you're tired of eating cream clan, creamos, cream colons, or the McDonald's adult cream pie. Yes, that's what they actually called it. There's only so much cream a guy can digest in one day, am I right? I mean, seriously, this diet is absolutely destroying my bowels. So thank God for a dry puffed corn snack that'll put hair on your chest and shit in your ass. But you're probably wondering, can it really be any good when it's so cheap? I mean 7p, that's barely a handful of pfennigs. Bill Gates probably makes 7p every second. Well, let's get this sucker into my mouth, and then I'll try one of these Umaibo. Just my little joke there. The cheese ain't bad. It's pretty much what it says on the tin, but the flavour doesn't stick around long. It's more a suggestion of cheese.
Cornwarning.
It tastes like completely underwhelming corn pottage. Not my first rodeo with corn-flavoured snacks in Japan, and I have to say I'm not a huge fan. I feel as though after eating it I deserve some kind of punishment for expecting it not to be a disappointment. Luckily I found some Japanese self-flagellation toys the other day, so I'm fully equipped in that regard. But what about the mentai? Well, it's kind of tasty. It almost reminds me of Monster Munch in a way, one of the great snacks of our time. Somehow the tangy flavour of the pickled fish eggs permeates the texture of the puffed corn in a way that makes for satisfying mouthfuls. It's better than the other two put together, that's for sure. Would I buy it for the new price of 12 yen? I suppose I would. But every time I see that little digit that bowed to the pressures of inflation, I'll feel a pang of sadness at what could have been. Well, that's the end. So as a bonus for sticking around, here's the creepy kids play area at the apartment block near me. And maybe next time I'll try the lamb barbecue in Night View, or maybe cheese ice cream. Thank you, good night.